Hey friends, hey, we're so glad you chose to be with us today. In the studio with us today, we have Melinda Robertson. Hey Melinda,
Hi.
so glad to have you here today.
Glad to be here.
You've been with us, I know, going on about 10 years this go round, right?
Yes, sir.
Yeah.
Right at 10.
Moved from the metropolis of Texarkana to Dallas.
Yep.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, you and your family.
So I've raised Morgan it's just been me and her, and with a lot of help from my parents. And it wasn't what I envisioned growing up, but once she come along, it was great. She's this great child. Beautiful personality, and now she's grown and graduated from school finally and starting her career, and it's exciting to see the woman she's become. And she's my best friend. We grew up together. I was 20. She was born a week after my 20th birthday, so we've done a lot of growing up together. And so, like I said, once I didn't have to be mom anymore, she became my best friend, and it's great.
She has 2 degrees. She has her bachelor's
And her master's.
In
Yes.
clinical psychology.
Clinical psychology.
Is that right?
Yep.
And
That's it.
just started recently with the.
Yep. Last week, she started her career job. She'd been working with Dallas Metro for the past 6 years, and she started her career job last week, working with a clinic in Mansfield. So.
And her specialty is?
Her specialty is kids.
Yeah. What a surprise, right?
Or not at all.
Yeah. She actually was, the last couple of years, been writing curriculum.
Yep, for Dallas Metro.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
And obviously been on our teaching team for quite some time.
Mm-hmm.
And then she spoils on Sundays at Dallas Metro Church. She spoils the toddlers that are in
Yes,
there, right?
She does.
Yeah, no question. Does a great job. Melinda, I know your parents quite well. And as you mentioned, they were a very strong support
Yes.
to you with raising Morgan.
Mm-hmm.
One of the challenges with having kids, particularly your first child, they forget to give that manual to you when you pick that baby up at the hospital, right?
There wasn't a manual.
No, that's why. And it's funny that you would say that you and Morgan grew up together, because that's what happened to Barbara and I with Brent. I tell people all the time, Brent raised us. We didn't raise him, right? All of a sudden, we got responsibilities. You have to take care of this kid, Yeah. But there's probably somebody watching today that doesn't have that strong support group. You and I have seen countless, when I say countless, that's not an exaggeration, countless family situations where single moms except normally they're not trying to raise a child, it's several children.
Mm-hmm.
And they're trying to do it alone.
Yes.
And when that happens, it's almost like you're behind the 8 ball.
Mm-hmm.
What would you say today to that mom out there she's struggling today, trying to figure out, what have I got myself into here, right? And that's the hard part. It's not like you can go, I think I'm gonna. You can't exchange this child. You can't take this child back. They're yours. So.
I guess I don't know. It seems like the most advice that I give out most of the time to moms is that don't take everything that your child says to you personal. As they grow up, and especially as they get closer to their preteens and their teenage years, they sometimes start saying things to you that are hurtful, or they start doing things that you taught them not to do, but don't take it personal. They're growing up and they're trying to figure out who they are, and always remember when you were that age, when you were little, and the things that you did and you said, and you grew up and got out of it, and so will they. the end will come. It's just maybe not as quick as you hope.
Yeah. I would say I would agree with that 100%. It's life is seasons. When they're babies, they demand all our time. Sleep optional.
Yep.
And we think this is the most difficult time, and then they start walking. And then you're going, oh, to go back to those days again. Then they start talking. And up until at least then, they need you.
Yep.
Then one day, maybe not so much. They don't need us quite so much. And
they don't want to need us.
Oh, absolutely. Yeah, they
so
want
much.
independence. But let's assume that a mom doesn't have a support group around her. She's, once again, this kind of goes back to who we minister to, on a daily basis. What would you tell that mom? Because alone is a difficult place to be. Because when you think you're alone, then all of a sudden you make decisions alone. They're not only detrimental to your family, but they're detrimental to you.
I'd say find a church that you can get a circle of friends and be a part of. I got a lot of support in the churches I went to as Morgan was growing up. I made a lot of good friends, and they helped me. They taught me a lot. I'm actually, a few of those people are why I work in children's ministry today. I wouldn't be working at Dallas Metro if it hadn't started with some of those friends I had made that I had met in church. And it was scary, at first going in. And I won't lie, I went into some churches that they thought being a single mom and never being married, that, I didn't belong in church. And that was hurtful, but I kept looking until I found a church that accepted me, and the people accepted me, and they ministered to me and poured into me.
And I would agree that wholeheartedly. When we first started Dallas Metro, our dream wasn't to plant a church, and yet we quickly realized that a lot of churches in neighborhoods are really not equipped because there's just a lot of needs that are there. And if your church is primarily made of mother, father, children, if that's the framework of your family, and then all of a sudden you're inundated with single moms and their children, it becomes a really tough journey for everybody. I would agree wholeheartedly with that. The purpose of the church is to be part of the family. That's why it's called the family of God. And it's there that you're going to find the support that you need. And it's there where you will grow in your faith, and you'll learn to trust the Word. One of the things that we try to do each week on this podcast, we try to give people a little nugget, something they can take home. And today I'm going to share a verse that you know really, really well because we taught it in Sunday school. It's Proverbs chapter 3, verse 5. You probably can quote this. Trust the Lord with all your heart. Do not depend upon your own understanding. Seek His will in all you do, and He will show you the right path to take. Even as a single mom, if we'll trust the Lord, the problem, sometimes society, and definitely our enemy, likes to heap on us because some choices that we made that probably weren't the right ones at the right time. But if we will get ourselves plugged into a local church, be faithful to that, be connected. I'm not talking about just showing up. You got to be connected.
Yes.
And then there'll be an opportunity. The Lord will bring people to you that will help you and be that support group that you need. And so you actually were with us quite a few years back, and I don't remember the time on that, but you've been with us about 10 years. You first came back when Barbara first got sick, and you were my intern.
Assistant.
You're over the intern program. Sorry, Melinda.
That's okay.
Admin. But you also, obviously, everybody that's part of Metro does Sunday school. And that's the sidewalk programs during the week, and then the indoor program on Saturdays. You've seen a lot of kids over the years. Can you think of one child that really made an impact on your life, or one child that you went, my, that was a tough story?
One?
Yes, well.
Okay, well, I mean, I've got one little girl that's coming to mind, mainly because I just lost her because she moved away. But she was always so eager when I would show up. And she would walk around with me to knock on doors and to help me invite the kids to Dallas Metro and everything. And we talk all the time. When she got to 6th grade, she was going to be a volunteer and everything. And she got to do that before she moved. For 1 year, she got to come to our volunteer meetings and help us on Saturdays and ride on a bus and everything. And then she moved.
Okay, stop there just for a second.
Okay.
You mean to tell me that we let children in the ministry?
Uh-huh.
We train them to do the ministry?
Absolutely.
Yeah, our best volunteers are the kids who sit on the tarps, and we're part of the program.
Yep.
And then we teach. Everybody thinks, door-to-door stuff is so tough. All you got to do is say, all you need is a hand and say 2 words.
And if you can get one of the kids involved that lives in that neighborhood, they can tell you where all the kids live.
Absolutely. They can tell you maybe you don't want to knock on that door, too.
Yeah, they can. I've had kids that would visit. They'd go around with me knocking on doors, and they would. There was this one family. They were all brothers, and they were helping me one night, and it was during the fall, and so it was getting dark while I was still out there. And I'm like, y'all need to go on in. It's getting dark. Y'all need to get inside. And they wouldn't leave until I got to my car and was ready to pull away, and they left, and I realized I'm sitting here trying to protect them, and they were actually protecting me. So they were watching out for me. They would not go home until I was safely to my car. So there's so many wonderful children in this city, and I've had the pleasure of getting to know a lot of them. They're my favorites. The kids are my favorite ministry, and we've got some amazing kids. They see Dallas Metro running up. Some of them don't even know my name. I'm Dallas Metro. It's my favorite name.
Mine too.
I love being Dallas Metro.
I remember I was at Walmart in one of our neighborhoods, and this kid came running across the back aisle, and he hollered Dallas Metro. Well, I didn't know who he was because he's too far away, but I knew what he was saying. So I would, and the amazing thing is, a lot of the kids, until they get to know you really well, they really think that is your name.
And we live in the sidewalk truck.
It's true.
Or on the campground.
That's true. I remember there were kids that thought we owned the campground. Not only do we live there, we own the camp. And for those that are watching, they don't know that we take kids to camp every year. And it's an incredible impact. One of the challenges that our kids face, many of the challenges that they face, it's difficult to get past what's happened to them. Life it's been unfair to many of them. And as a result, you're having to deal with some kind of abuse, and there's a whole gamut of what that is. And the first step to healing, it's no different than for us. The first step to healing is you got to get along with the Lord. And that doesn't mean if there's 10 steps, that's not the 10 steps necessarily. But the first step is you got to get them along with the Lord. And so that's how summer camp even got started. We had some kids that had some pretty heavy baggage. We just felt like we could just get them alone with the Lord. And so and that's why we do take kids to summer camp every year. And those kids are the ones that do the best. When that next year comes up, they do the best. You know, I've seen when there were years that kids, they didn't go for whatever reason. And then the next year, man, it was, we got disconnected from them.
Yeah.
The problems continued to escalate. But, you know, there's something that you're over right now that I'm really excited about. And I mentioned, I called you an intern. Obviously, you're not an intern, nor have you ever been an intern. But you're over our intern program today.
Yes, sir.
And it's an opportunity for people who are age 18 to 25 to come and be a part of Metro. Tell us about that.
Yeah, so 18 to 25, and they, you know, they have a heart to serve God, and they want to learn how to work in ministry.
Right.
So we've got a lot of different areas. We, you know, mainly we've talked about ministering to kids, but we also have family services on Sundays. We have youth services each week. So
Wait a minute, we do teenagers too?
We do teenagers too.
We are a brave group of people.
We are. That's the bravest not of all. No, they're great teens. So we have opportunities for an intern to come in and work with any age group that they might, from 0 to, you know, senior citizen, that they might be interested in, and everything in between. So, yeah, our deadline for this semester, if you're interested, get a hold of me, please, by the end of this month, by the last day of this month, because move-in day is on September the 5th. So that would need to happen like real quick.
So let's talk about how they can connect with you. They can call the office.
They can call the office,
which
and
is
ask for
214-744-0848. Or they could email you.
Yep.
At
Melinda. Oh, hold it. At M. Robertson.
M. Robertson at dallasmetro.org.
Yep.
Okay. Or they could go to our webpage, which is dallasmetro.org, and click on interns.
Yes.
And they can connect with you that way. So they have an opportunity to be with us they can do 4 months.
Yes.
Or 10 months.
Yes.
And during those 4 months, they'll have an opportunity. We own an apartment complex.
Yes.
Many people don't know that. Our staff lives there.
Yep.
It is a safe place. I can't have always said that, but it is a safe place now. But they live in the apartment complex, so the housing is provided.
Yes.
What else? Tell us what's a normal. If you were going to trust your Morgan to us, which you would.
I would. I have.
That's true. Very true. Let's talk to the parents first. What do we need to tell the parents out there that are watching right now?
For the parents, I would say that this is a good opportunity for your child to get out of the house, especially if they're like looking at doing a gap year. I would never want to encourage someone to not go to college if that's their desire. But if they're even looking at a gap year, or they just already realize that college isn't for them, but ministry is, you know, send them our way. We will help teach them how to truly serve their community.
Okay, let's talk about gap year for those who don't know what a gap year is.
Just, you know, they're graduating high school, but they want a year before they go off to college.
Yeah, either they're trying to figure out what to do, or they're going, I need to take a breath.
Yeah, need to take a breath or figure out a major.
Jump into college or some kind of job training or whatever. So, when they get there, what's everyday look like?
It's a lot of physical labor. I won't lie. Everybody on staff at Metro does quite a bit of physical labor. So your day's going to start with loading all the supplies on the truck that's needed for that day. And then after that, you're going to be getting ready to get on the truck and go out into a neighborhood. Where that day you might start off knocking on doors, Or you might kick off with a program, and then after that program's done, go into another neighborhood and start knocking on doors and getting that neighborhood ready for the next day.
Yeah, for those who don't understand knocking on doors, one of the unique things about us and the way we get to know the kids is not at the program. I mean, it's not that you won't meet them, but you don't get to know them.
It takes both.
It's when you're in their homes, and so we visit every child and their family every single week, and we do that on their doorstep. So we just knock on their door and then check on them, see what's happening, and then invite them to Sunday school the next day. And so that's it's very rewarding. But the flip side of that is if it's raining, all that means is you and the flyers get wet that day. That's what that means, right?
It also means you're going to be a really big witness to that neighborhood that day.
Absolutely. The worse the weather when we're out there, the stronger the testimony, because it so strongly communicates something that we don't see in our country anymore, and that's commitment. We've made a commitment that we're going to be there week in and week out, so it doesn't matter what the weather is. We're going to do all that we can to be out there, and so they'll be loading trucks every day. And when we're talking about the trucks, we're talking about the sidewalk trucks we do the ministry in.
Sidewalk trucks and the treat trucks.
Oh, and the treat trucks. Yeah, can't forget the important part there, right?
I know.
Then also there'll be a part of the youth program.
Yes.
That takes place on Tuesday nights, and then on Saturdays have a volunteer meeting, which they'll be a part of. And then on the indoor program, it's a little different than the week in that they will still doing the same program, but you're knocking on the doors and you're inviting the kids to get on the bus. And then they go to the lighthouse and we have their program indoors. And then
Sunday.
All the setup for that and all the takedown for that happens. And then on Sundays, we have a church. And same thing, it's a lot of setup. I'm still running vehicles out, pick people up, have church. And so it is a lot of manual labor, as you said.
Yes.
But I think hopefully there's a couple of things that they'll learn while they're here. What do you think those couple of things are?
I think the first two things that they'll learn is how easy it really is to just connect with people that aren't necessarily inside the four walls of your church. How easy it is to just go out into a neighborhood and start getting to know people. And then the next thing is how easy it's to just talk about God to people. It's not complicated. It's not difficult. It really is just an easy thing. It's just sharing how much He loves us, and doing that by showing it by example, and not just words. And
some things are taught.
Some things are caught.
Yeah.
So I think those are the top things that they're going to learn. They might also learn that you can't survive without air conditioning because you're outside a lot.
Yeah.
But I hope that they wouldn't let that deter them, because it's all for a really good cause. And once you pull into that neighborhood and you see how excited the kids are, and you see them all sitting there listening to the gospel, and they are just so excited. There's one little girl in one of our neighborhoods. She brings her notebook every week, and she is sitting there just writing every word that gets spoken from the stage, and she is taking that home with her every day. And it's and you can't help but just fall in love with these kids. So I'd say come be a part of Dallas Metro, because you're going to find a neighborhood that you connect with, and you're going to fall in love.
Some of our interns that come, they stay. As a matter of fact, our guest next week is a classic example of someone. But for the most part, our interns come, and you've seen people from our intern program and people on our staff that have left. Some have gone on to do other ministry.
Yep.
Some have went out into the marketplace. Our goal, while churches, it's more than just a family trusting us, it's their church trusting us. Hopefully that they will learn that we get to serve.
Absolutely.
We teach them the importance of serving. And if there's a pastor that's out there watching today, we will teach your kids. It's a privilege to get to serve. And it doesn't take a great skill set to serve. It just takes a little higher commitment than what some are. And one of the tools that we're missing at Metro right now is long-term facilities. One thing that would make life obviously a little easier for us if we weren't doing quite so much setting up and tearing down, because we're currently renting facilities. We outgrew our warehouse a long time ago. You've been here for this whole journey of us getting into new facilities. We looked at a lot of old buildings.
Yes.
And none of them were exactly what the Lord had for us. Each week we talk to those who are watching or listening to our podcast, how the Lord has opened up this incredible door for us at the Lighthouse. And they are providing land for us to, You know, the Lord has raised up a new generation of leaders, and you are a part of that, and I'm very proud to say that.
Thank you.
But you're missing a tool, and that tool is long-term facilities, where everything will be housed in one location. Someplace that our vehicles, this won't mean anything to most people, but for us, you really get tired of the theft after a while.
Yeah, it's nothing like walking up to your bus and it won't start, and realizing that the battery's missing.
Exactly, it's gone, or they've stolen the catalytic converter.
Or they took the fire extinguishers and busted out all of your windows and sprayed the fire extinguisher all over the bus, and you had to get it cleaned up to go pick up the kids, because you're still picking up the kids.
And you don't have any time to do that. You know, that's not, you don't schedule that in every day, right? And just have a place for, one of the dreams, and you know this, one of our dreams is people need to get along with the Lord, even here in the city. And so the dream we have is to have a prayer chapel that's open 7 days a week where anybody can come. So the Lord's going to take and provide for us a ministry center that houses all our ministries. Also, we're going to have a warehouse for food, clothing, supplies, and then this prayer chapel. And the big part of this dream is we're expecting to do it. God's going to take and provide.
Yes.
It's going to be 100% debt free. Why is that important to us as a ministry?
Honestly, just moving forward to not. We have learned to depend on God, that He provides everything we need each day, and but yeah, we like I said, we need the building because it would just be helpful to like build a store everything together that we need to have everything right there, to have the trucks, and buses in a safe place, and then if we can just move forward and not have to stress major debt and be able to, for this facility that we so desperately need. But yeah, if we can get it built without going in major debt for it, then that money can get put towards the money that comes in after that can get put towards the ministry. It can go towards building a staff so we can get into more neighborhoods, buying more trucks so we can get into more neighborhoods and reach more kids. Hours that are spent setting up and tearing down could be spent getting into more neighborhoods and reaching more kids and their families, and so.
I totally agree. I'm committed to this. I'm committed to us doing this debt-free. I'm committed to us not leaving behind a big debt that does cause bondage. I'm also committed, like you just said, you said it so well. Those dollars could be used for ministry instead of trying to figure out how to make a monthly payment and pay interest to somebody that, whatever,
Yeah.
So glad that you came today. If you want to be an intern, remember the deadline for that is like now.
Now, yeah. Like last week.
Yeah. So contact Melinda at mrobertson@dallasmetro.org.
Yes.
Or you can go to our webpage and submit there.
That comes straight to me as well.
If they'll do that, their lives will be changed.
It will.
Hey, folks, so glad that you joined with us today. Thank you for being here. Let me encourage you, if you would help us on this incredible dream the Lord's given to us to build these facilities absolutely debt-free. We have the plans that are almost completed. I think we're at the third rendition right now, so we're very, very close to getting to the construction phase. Our goal is to do this absolutely debt-free. We can't do it without you. You know, many of you have stood with us in the past. I'm believing that you're going to pray with us and believe God for a miracle. And then as the Lord speaks to you, believing that you're going to give just like you have for the last 35 years. You know, we're a firm believer that this next generation is going to reach more kids than what we've seen thus far in 35 years. You're going to make it possible. So go to dallasmetro.org, click on All In. That's what the campaign's called, and then go down and click on Give to All In. Make a one-time donation or a monthly commitment, and let's see together what God's going to do in our city. Thanks for seeing us. Check in next week. God bless you. Bye-bye.